The massive alien ships appeared above Earth without warning. They came in the morning when most of the planet was just waking up. The ships were enormous, each one the size of a small city. They hung in the sky like dark clouds, blocking out the sun in some places. People on the ground stopped what they were doing and stared upward in shock and fear. In the headquarters of the United Earth Government in New Seoul, alarms were ringing everywhere. Taesung, the Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, stood in the control room watching the screens. His face was calm, but his hands were tight fists at his sides. He had spent 20 years preparing for this moment, hoping it would never come. "How many ships?" he asked. "We count 47 ships in orbit, sir," replied a young officer. "They're not attacking. They're just waiting." Beside Taesung stood Ji-woo, the chief diplomatic officer. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "They want to talk," she said. "That's something, at least." Within an hour, a message came from the alien fleet. They called themselves the Galactic Collective. They said they represented 47 different alien species from across the galaxy. They requested a meeting with Earth's leaders. Taesung and Ji-woo agreed, though neither felt good about it. The aliens came down in a small shuttle. Their leader was called Valen. He was tall and thin with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were large and completely black. When he spoke, a device around his neck translated his words into human languages. "People of Earth," Valen said, standing in the grand meeting hall where representatives from every nation had gathered. "We come with an important message. Your species has been observed for many years. We have watched you fight wars among yourselves. We have seen your violence and your primitive ways. You are a danger to yourselves and to others." Ji-woo stepped forward. "We have been working toward peace," she said carefully. "Our world is more united now than ever before." Valen made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You still have weapons. You still have armies. This is not peace. This is preparation for more war." He pressed a button, and images appeared in the air above them. They showed human history, battles and conflicts from thousands of years. "This is what you are. This is what you will always be. What do you want from us?" Taesung asked. His voice was steady and strong. "The Galactic Collective maintains order in the galaxy," Valen explained. "We prevent war. We ensure peace. For this to work, all species must accept their place. Some species are suited to lead. Others are suited to serve. Your species will serve." The room erupted in angry voices. Representatives shouted in different languages. Ji-woo raised her hand for silence. "You're asking us to surrender our freedom," she said. "We are offering you protection," Valen corrected. "You will be a protected servant species. You will work for the collective. In return, you will not destroy yourselves. You will live under our guidance. It is a generous offer. And if we refuse?" Taesung asked, though he already knew the answer. Valen's black eyes seemed to grow darker. "Then we will pacify your world by force. We have done this before with other stubborn species. It is not pleasant, but it is necessary. You have 30 of your Earth days to decide. Surrender peacefully or be pacified. There is no third option." After the aliens left, the leaders of Earth gathered in private. Hyan-woo, the head of military intelligence, presented his analysis. He was a quiet man who rarely spoke, but when he did, people listened. "They think we're weak," Hyan-woo said. "I've analyzed everything they showed us, everything they said. They believe we'll surrender out of fear. They've done this to other species, and those species gave up without a fight. Can we fight them?" asked the president of the Asian Union. Hyan-woo pulled up numbers on the screen. "Their technology is more advanced than ours in some ways, but they've never faced an enemy like us. Every species they conquered before was peaceful. They don't understand warfare the way we do. They don't understand humans. For 3 days, the leaders debated. Some argued for surrender. Why fight a war they couldn't win? Why let humanity be destroyed? But others argued back. What was life worth if they lived as slaves? What would they tell their children when they asked why they gave up without trying? On the 4th day, they put it to a vote. Every nation on Earth voted. The decision was made. They would not surrender. Taisung prepared to send the response. Jiwoo stood beside him in the broadcast center. "Are we doing the right thing?" she asked quietly. "I don't know," Taisung admitted. "But it's the human thing to do." He pressed the button. The message went out to the alien fleet and to every screen on Earth. Taisung's face appeared. And he spoke clearly. "People of the Galactic Collective, this is Supreme Commander Taisung of Earth. We have considered your ultimatum. We reject it completely. Humanity will not surrender. We will not serve. We are not perfect, but we are free, and we will remain free. If you want our world, you will have to take it. We choose to stand." Across Earth, people watched. Some cried. Some cheered. Some prayed. But all of them knew that nothing would ever be the same again. In orbit, Valen received the message. He could not believe what he was hearing. No species had ever refused before. He sent a message back to the Collective Council, far across the galaxy. "They have refused," he reported. "Prepare the full armada. These humans are more foolish than we thought. We will teach them the price of defiance." The war was coming. The Galactic Collective Armada arrived 30 days later, exactly as promised. They came through a strange ripple in space near Jupiter. First one ship appeared, then another, and hundreds more. The sensors in Earth's defense stations counted them as they kept coming. 3,000 ships. The largest war fleet humanity had ever seen. On Earth, people tried to continue their normal lives, but everyone was afraid. Children went to school. Adults went to work. But they all looked up at the sky more often, wondering when the end would come. Taisung stood in the military command center deep underground. Around him, screens showed the alien fleet moving slowly toward Earth. They were taking their time, showing off their strength. They wanted humanity to see how hopeless resistance was. "Our fleet is ready, sir," reported an officer. "All 240 ships are in position." 240 ships against 3,000. The numbers were terrible. But Taisung had a plan. He had spent the last 30 days preparing for this moment. "Get me Captain Minseo," he said. On the flagship E.D. Indomitable, floating near Mars, Minseo received the call. She was younger than most ship captains, only 32 years old, but she was the best pilot in the Earth Defense Service. She had short black hair and eyes that never stopped moving, always watching, always thinking. "Captain Minseo reporting, sir." "Captain, you know the plan," Taisung said. "Do not engage in direct combat. Use speed. Use surprise. Make them chase you. The weapon systems engineer Dong Haiyan installed on your ships are experimental, but they should work. Hit them hard and get out fast." "Understood, sir." "We won't let you down." Dong Haiyan himself was on the Indomitable. He was a thin man who always looked tired because he never slept enough. For the past month, he had been working day and night installing his new weapons on Earth ships. They were called Hellstorm railguns. They fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. The aliens used energy shields that could stop laser weapons and plasma blasts. But Dong Haiyan believed that simple kinetic energy, a big piece of metal moving very fast, would go right through their shields. He hoped he was right. If he was wrong, they would all die very quickly. The alien fleet reached Mars orbit. They sent a message to Earth. Valen's face appeared on screens around the world. "Humans of Earth, your time is up. We gave you a chance to surrender peacefully. You refused. Now you will see what happens to those who defy the Galactic Collective. Prepare for pacification. The alien ships began moving toward Earth. They flew in perfect formation, like a military parade. Each ship knew exactly where it should be. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. All ships, this is Captain Min Seo. Execute Plan Delta. Go now. The human ships had been hiding behind Mars, using the planet to block the alien sensors. Now they came out fast, their engines burning at maximum power. They did not fly in formation. They scattered in all directions like insects, each ship moving independently. The aliens were confused. This was not how space battles were supposed to work. Where was the formation? Where was the organization? How could anyone fight like this? Min Seo's ship was the fastest. She came in from the side, targeting the largest alien ship. Dong Hyan, is the weapon ready? Ready, Captain. Firing now. The Hellstorm railgun fired. There was no bright beam of light, no colorful explosion. Just a simple metal rod, weighing 50 kilograms, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. It crossed the distance to the alien ship in seconds. The alien shields lit up, trying to stop it. But the shields were designed for energy weapons. The metal rod passed right through like the shields were not even there. It punched through the alien ship's hull, then through the decks inside, then out the other side. The ship began to tumble, atmosphere leaking from the holes. It works! Dong Hyan shouted. It actually works. All ships fire at will. Min Seo ordered. The human fleet attacked from every direction. The aliens tried to return fire, but the human ships were too fast, too unpredictable. Every time the aliens targeted a human ship, it was already somewhere else. Meanwhile, the Hellstorm railguns kept firing. Alien ships began to explode or drift helplessly with their systems destroyed. Valen watched from his command ship in shock. This was not supposed to happen. The humans should have been easy to defeat. Their technology was inferior. Their fleet was tiny. How were they winning? All ships, concentrate fire. He ordered. Stop chasing them. Form a defensive sphere. The alien fleet tried to reorganize, but it was too late. The humans had already done tremendous damage. 80 alien ships were destroyed or disabled. More were damaged. And not a single human ship had been lost. All ships withdraw, Min Seo ordered. Back to Rally Point Theta. The human fleet scattered again, disappearing in different directions. The aliens tried to chase them, but the human ships were faster and knew the solar system better. Within an hour, every human ship had escaped. On Earth, people watched the battle on their screens. When they saw the aliens retreating, they could not believe it. They had won. Not the war, not yet. But they had won the first battle. They had proven they could fight back. Taisheng allowed himself a small smile. Well done, Captain Min Seo. Well done, all of you. But he knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would come back. They would be angry. They would be more careful. The next battle would be harder. In orbit, Valen stared at his screens showing the destroyed ships. He had lost 80 ships. 80. No enemy had ever caused such damage to the collective in a single battle. These humans were not primitive. They were dangerous. He sent an urgent message to the Collective Council. Request immediate reinforcements. The humans are more capable than expected. This will not be a quick pacification. This will be war. Far across the galaxy, the Collective Council received the message. They were surprised and angry. They sent back their response. More ships would come. Thousands more. And next time, there would be no mercy. The war had truly begun. 6 months had passed since the first battle. The war had spread beyond Earth's solar system. The Galactic Collective kept sending more ships, and humanity kept finding new ways to fight them. Taesoon was now Field Marshal, commanding all human military forces. He had not slept more than 4 hours a night since the war began. His hair had turned gray at the temples. The humans had learned an important lesson. They could not win by fighting the way the aliens expected. The collective had more ships, more resources, and thousands of years of experience. But they fought in predictable ways. They followed strict rules and formations. Humans had no such rules. Humans were Chaos. Young-Me commanded the Special Operations Division. She was short and muscular, with scars on her arms from training accidents. Before the war, she had been a martial arts champion. Now she led teams of soldiers who did the impossible. "Commander Young-Me, you're cleared aboard," came the voice in her helmet. She and her team of 20 soldiers floated in space, wearing black armor that made them almost invisible against the darkness. Ahead of them was a disabled collective supply ship. It was alone, separated from the main fleet. Young-Me's team had been following it for 2 days, waiting for the right moment. "Remember, we need the cargo intact," she told her team. "And we need prisoners who can tell us about their technology. Move fast. We have 10 minutes before their patrol ships return." They used small thrusters on their suits to fly toward the alien ship. They attached explosive charges to the airlock and blew it open. Alarms began ringing inside the ship. The aliens were surprised. No one had ever boarded their ships before. Most species did not have soldiers trained for such missions. Young-Me and her team moved through the ship like shadows. They were faster and more aggressive than the aliens expected. Within 6 minutes, they had secured the cargo bay and captured 15 alien crew members. The cargo was exactly what they needed: advanced computer systems and power generators. "Extraction team, we're ready," Young-Me called. A human ship appeared and locked onto the alien vessel. They transferred the cargo and prisoners, then planted explosives throughout the supply ship. 3 minutes later, they were gone. Behind them, the alien ship exploded. This happened again and again. Human special forces teams set supply lines, stole technology, and disappeared before the collective could respond. The aliens called them ghosts. They could not understand how humans could be so bold and so effective. Admiral J1 commanded the Deep Strike Fleet. He was an older man, almost 60, with a calm voice that never showed fear. His fleet was made of captured alien ships that had been repaired and modified by human engineers. The aliens never expected their own ships to attack them. "Admiral, we're approaching the target," reported his second officer. "The supply convoy is exactly where intelligence said it would be." J1 looked at the screen. 12 alien cargo ships protected by 6 warships. Normally, 6 warships would be too much for his small fleet to handle. But he had a plan. "Send a recognition signal," he ordered. One of the captured alien ships sent out a signal identifying itself as a collective vessel. The enemy ships received the signal and relaxed. They thought it was one of their own ships coming to join them. "Get closer," J1 said. "Wait until we're right next to them." The captured ship drifted toward the convoy. The aliens did not suspect anything. Why would they? Their ships could not be captured. Their codes could not be broken. Except humans had done both. When they were close enough, J1 gave the order. "All ships fire!" The captured ship opened fire at point-blank range. 2 alien warships exploded before they could even raise their shields. The other human ships appeared from behind asteroids and joined the attack. The remaining alien warships tried to fight back, but they were surrounded and confused. Within 20 minutes, the entire convoy was destroyed or captured. "Take everything useful," J1 ordered. leave nothing for them. Earth's factories worked day and night. Every resource was dedicated to the war effort. Civilian ships were converted into military vessels. Scientists worked on improving captured alien technology. Humanity's entire industrial capacity was focused on one goal: survival. The Galactic Collective was frustrated and angry. They had sent thousands more ships, but the humans kept fighting. Every battle was different. Every engagement brought new surprises. The humans did not follow any logical pattern. They attacked supply lines, then disappeared. They ambushed patrols. They used captured ships against their former owners. They did things no civilized species would do. The Collective's new war master, Theron, studied the reports. He was older than Valen and more experienced. He had fought in wars against 3 other species. All of them had surrendered after a few battles. But humans were different. They are improvising, he told the council. Every battle, they try something new. We cannot predict them because they do not predict themselves. They create strategies as they fight. Then adapt, the council ordered. Learn from them. Change your tactics. Theron tried. He really did. He spread his ships out to prevent ambush. He protected supply lines better. He tried to think like a human. But every time he changed his strategy, the humans changed theirs. It was like fighting smoke. The turning point came at Proxima Centauri. Humans had established a small colony there before the war. It had 30,000 people, mostly scientists and their families. The Collective decided to attack it. They wanted to show humanity what happened to colonies that resisted. Theron brought a massive fleet, including his most powerful dreadnought, a ship 3 kilometers long with weapons that could destroy planets. He thought the humans would evacuate the colony. Instead, they defended it. The battle was fierce. Human ships fought desperately to protect the colony. They were losing. The dreadnought's shields were too strong. Human weapons could barely scratch it. Then something unexpected happened. A colony transport ship, filled with fuel and industrial explosives, flew directly at the dreadnought. The dreadnought fired every weapon at it, but the transport ship had extra shields. All the shields stripped from other human ships. It got close enough that the transport ship exploded. The explosion was so powerful it created a small sun for a few seconds. When the light faded, the dreadnought was gone, destroyed completely. 2,000 alien crew members died instantly. The cost was high. 500 humans had been on that transport ship. They had volunteered, knowing they would not survive. They did it to save the colony. They did it to hurt the enemy. Across the galaxy, other species heard about the battle. They heard how humans had sacrificed themselves to destroy the most powerful ship in the Collective fleet. They heard how humans refused to surrender even when losing. Word spread. The Terran resistance. Humans who would rather die than serve. Some species began to wonder. If humans could resist the Collective, maybe they could too. Maybe they did not have to be servants forever. Maybe freedom was possible. The war continued, but something had changed. Humanity was no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting for something bigger. They were showing the galaxy that resistance was possible. Taesung received reports of alien species making secret contact with Earth. They wanted to talk. They wanted to know how humans stayed so strong. Some even offered to help. The war was far from over, but humanity was no longer alone. 80 months into the war, everything had changed. Earth's forces were no longer just defending. They were attacking. Human ships now operated deep inside Collective territory, striking targets that the aliens had thought were safe. The galaxy was watching, and the Collective was worried. Taesung stood in the war room with his senior commanders. On the large screen in front of them was a map of the galaxy. Red markers showed collective territory. Blue markers showed human forces. There were many more blue markers now than there had been 6 months ago. "We're winning," said one general. "They can't keep up with us." "No," Taesung said firmly. "We're surviving. That's different from winning. But we're getting closer." So Hyan entered the room. She was Earth's chief ambassador to the other alien species. For months, she had been traveling to different worlds, meeting with species that the collective had conquered long ago. She was tired. Negotiating with aliens was harder than fighting them sometimes. "I have good news," So Hyan announced. "The Realtor have agreed to join us. That makes 3 independent species now allied with Earth." "The Realtor are traders, not warriors," someone pointed out. "True," So Hyan agreed. "But they have ships everywhere. They know all the trade routes. They can carry supplies to us and gather intelligence. Sometimes information is more valuable than weapons." Taesung nodded. "Every ally helps. What about the servant species? The ones under collective control?" So Hyan's expression became serious. "They want to be free, but they're afraid. The collective has controlled them for generations. They don't remember what freedom means. However, if we could liberate just one of their worlds, show them it's possible, others might follow." "Commander Wu Jin," Taesung called. A man stepped forward. He was in charge of the newest human fleet, ships built in the past year using a combination of human and captured alien technology. "Can your fleet handle a liberation mission?" "Yes, sir," Wu Jin replied without hesitation. "We've been planning for this. There's a world called Kelmar. It's inhabited by a species called the Kelmari. The collective conquered them 200 years ago. They work in factories making components for collective ships. The world is lightly defended because the Kelmari have never resisted." "Make it happen," Taesung ordered. "Show the galaxy that we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone's freedom." 3 weeks later, Wu Jin's fleet arrived at Kelmar. The planet was green and beautiful, covered in forests and oceans. From space, it looked peaceful. But on the surface, the Kelmari people worked in massive factories, producing weapons for the collective to use against their enemies. The collective had only 20 ships defending the planet. They were not expecting an attack. Wu Jin's fleet had 40 ships. The battle was quick and decisive. The human ships used their now famous hit-and-run tactics. Within 2 hours, all 20 collective ships were destroyed. Wu Jin sent a message to the planet's surface. "People of Kelmar, this is Commander Wu Jin of the Earth Defense Forces. We have defeated the collective ships in orbit. You are free. We will help you defend your world if you want us to. The choice is yours." The Kelmari were confused at first. They had been servants for so long that they did not understand what freedom meant. But slowly, they began to believe. They stopped working in the factories. They came out into the streets. They looked up at the sky and saw human ships. Instead of collective vessels, the Kelmari shared everything they knew about the collective with the humans. They knew how the collective's political system worked. They knew which species were loyal and which were resentful. They knew about secret bases and hidden supply depots. The information was incredibly valuable. News of Kelmar's liberation spread quickly. Other servant species heard about it. Across the galaxy, workers in collective factories began to slow down their production. Some sabotaged equipment. Others sent secret messages to Earth, begging to be freed next. The collective council was furious. This was unprecedented. For thousands of years, they had maintained perfect control. Now, because of these humans, everything was falling apart. War Master Theron was given new orders. Crush the humans completely. Use whatever force necessary. We cannot allow this rebellion to continue. Theron gathered the largest fleet the collective had ever assembled. 5,000 ships. He would attack Earth's main defensive line at Titan, one of Saturn's moons. If he could break through there, Earth itself would be vulnerable. The humans would have to surrender or watch their homeworld burn. The Battle of Titan began on a cold morning. The collective fleet arrived all at once, a wall of ships stretching across space. The human defenders numbered only 600 ships. The odds were terrible, worse than any previous battle. Taesung was there personally, commanding from a battleship in the center of the defensive line. He knew this might be the last battle. If they lost here, the war was over. All ships, hold the line, he ordered. Do not retreat. Do not surrender. This is where we stand. The collective attacked with overwhelming force. Their ships fired thousands of weapons simultaneously. Human shields flared and died. Ships exploded. For every collective ship destroyed, 3 human ships were lost. Captain Mincio fought desperately, her ship damaged and leaking air. Half her crew was injured or dead. But she kept fighting. Around her, other captains did the same. They could have retreated. They could have saved themselves. But they stayed. The battle lasted for 18 hours. It was the longest and bloodiest space battle in human history. When it finally ended, the human fleet had lost 40% of its ships. 240 vessels destroyed. 20,000 people dead. But the collective had lost even more. They had lost 900 ships trying to break through the human line. And they had failed. The humans held. Titan did not fall. Theron stared at his screens in disbelief. He had brought 5,000 ships. He had every advantage. But the humans had not broken. They had stood and fought, and somehow survived. How was this possible? The answer was simple. Humans knew what they were fighting for. The collective fought because they were ordered to. Collective soldiers followed commands because that was their duty. But human soldiers fought because they believed in something. They fought for their families, their friends, their world. They fought because surrender was worse than death. After the Battle of Titan, something shifted in the collective council. They had always believed they were invincible. Now they knew they were not. They had lost thousands of ships fighting one small species. How many more would they lose? Could they even win this war? Some council members began to speak quietly about negotiation. Others called them cowards. The council was dividing. The unity that had held the collective together for millennia was cracking. Taesung received intelligence reports about the council's internal debates. He knew the collective was weakening from within. But he also knew humans could not survive many more battles like Titan. Both sides were hurting. Both sides were desperate. We need to end this, he told his commanders. Not with surrender. Not with slow grinding battles. We need something dramatic. Something that will force them to stop. What do you have in mind? Asked G-Wu. Taesung pulled up a star map. In the center was a planet marked in gold. Praxos, the capital world of the Galactic Collective. The center of their government, their culture, their power. We're going there, Taesung said. We're going to strike at their heart. Operation Sovereign Dawn was the most ambitious military operation humanity had ever attempted. The plan was simple in concept, but terrifying in execution. They would take a combined fleet of human and allied ships directly to Praxos, the collective's capital world, and force an end to the war. You understand this is extremely dangerous, Ji-Woo said to Taesung as they reviewed the final plans. If we fail, Earth will be defenseless. Every ship we have will be at Praxos. If we don't do this, we'll lose anyway, Taesung replied. We can't win a long war of attrition. We're running out of resources and people. This is our chance to end it on our terms. The fleet that gathered for Operation Sovereign Dawn included 800 human ships, plus 300 ships from the 3 allied species and freed worlds. It was the largest human armada ever assembled. Captain Min Seo would lead the forward assault groups. Commander Wu Jin would command the supporting fleets. Admiral J1 would coordinate the overall strategy. And Taesung would be there in person to negotiate when the fighting stopped. They traveled for 3 weeks using the fastest FTL routes. They avoided collective patrols and used captured recognition codes to pass checkpoints. The collective did not expect an attack on their capital. Why would they? No conquered species had ever been bold enough or strong enough to try. When the human fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of the Praxos system, every alarm on the planet began ringing. The collective High Chancellor Cross was in the middle of a council meeting when he received the news. Human ships. Here? How many? Over 1,000, Chancellor. They're heading directly for Praxos. Cross felt something he had not experienced in his long life. Fear. Real, genuine fear. Activate all defensive systems. Recall every nearby patrol. Send a priority message to all collective fleets. The capital is under attack. The collective had permanent defenses around Praxos. Space stations with powerful weapons. Automated defense platforms. A defensive fleet of 200 ships always on patrol. It was supposed to be unbreakable. Mincio led the first wave of attacks. Her pilots had trained for months specifically for this battle. They knew exactly what to do. They scattered and attacked from multiple angles simultaneously. The automated defenses tried to track them, but could not keep up with so many targets moving so unpredictably. Human ships began hitting the defense platforms with Hellstorm railguns. One by one, the platforms exploded or went dark. The defensive fleet tried to organize a counterattack, but the humans had learned too much over 2 years of war. They knew collective tactics better than the collective knew human tactics. Within 4 hours, the outer defenses were broken. The human fleet pushed closer to Praxos. On the planet's surface, billions of aliens watched the sky in shock. Many had never seen war before. The collective capital had been safe for thousands of years. We have weapons lock on multiple surface targets, reported Wu Jin. Cities, government buildings, industrial centers. We could destroy them all. Hold fire, Taesung ordered. That's not why we're here. Instead, he opened a communication channel that broadcast to every screen on Praxos and throughout collective space. His face appeared, calm and steady. High Chancellor Cross, this is Field Marshal Taesung of Earth. As you can see, we have the ability to destroy your capital world. We have weapons aimed at your cities. We could kill billions of your people. He paused, letting that sink in. But we won't. We're not here to commit genocide. We're here to end this war. On Praxos, Cross watched the broadcast with the entire council. They were terrified and furious at the same time. We could fight, War Master Theron said. Our reinforcement fleets will arrive in 6 hours. We can still win. And how many will die in those 6 hours? Asked another council member. He has weapons pointed at our cities. At our families. Cross made the hardest decision of his life. Open a channel to the human commander. Taesung's face appeared on the council chamber screen. Cross looked at this human who had caused so much trouble. This primitive species that should have been easy to conquer. What do you want? Cross asked. Peace, Taesung said simply. Real peace, not slavery. We want recognition as a sovereign species. We want all servant species freed to choose their own governments. We want the Galactic Collective to become what it claims to be, a collective of equals, not masters and servants. Impossible. Duran shouted. The structure has maintained galactic peace for millennia. Has it? Taesung challenged. Or has it just prevented anyone from fighting back? Peace built on oppression is not really peace. It's just control. Ji Woo stepped forward beside Taesung. We're not asking you to dissolve completely. We're asking you to reform. Make the collective voluntary. Let species choose to join or not. Build real cooperation, not forced servitude. The council debated for 2 hours while human ships waited in orbit. Some council members wanted to fight. Others saw the wisdom in negotiation. Finally, Cross called for a vote. The motion passed. The collective would negotiate. The Treaty of Praxos took 3 weeks to finalize. Representatives from Earth, the allied species, and the free worlds all participated. The key provisions were clear. All servant species would be granted full independence. They could choose to rejoin the collective as equal members or remain independent. The collective's military would be reformed into a true defensive alliance rather than an occupation force. Any species wishing to join the collective must do so by free choice, not conquest. Earth would be recognized as a sovereign power with full rights and protections. 12 species that had been conquered by the collective chose independence immediately. 8 others chose to stay but demanded better representation on the council. The collective agreed to all terms. On Earth, people celebrated in the streets. The war was over. They had won, not by destroying their enemy, but by proving they could not be defeated, and then offering a better alternative. Taesung met with Cross one final time before leaving Praxos. They stood in a garden on the planet's surface, surrounded by alien plants and flowers. I underestimated your species, Cross admitted. We all did. We thought you were violent and primitive. We are violent, Taesung acknowledged. Humanity has fought wars for our entire history. But we learned something from all that conflict. We learned that the strongest power is not the power to destroy. It's the power to choose not to destroy even when you can. Why didn't you? Cross asked. You had weapons aimed at our cities. You could have killed billions of us in revenge. Because that would make us exactly what you thought we were, Taesung replied. We didn't fight this war to prove we could kill. We fought to prove we deserved to live free. There's a difference. 3 months later, Taesung retired from military service. He had done what he set out to do. Earth was safe. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy. Now it was time for others to build the peace he had fought for. He returned to a small house in the mountains where he had been born. On his first morning there, he sat on the porch watching the sunrise. The sky was clear and blue, no alien warships blocking the sun. His communication device chimed. It was Ji Woo. Sorry to bother you in retirement, but we need your advice. 8 more species have asked about joining what we're calling the Terran Alliance. They want the kind of freedom we fought for. Taesung smiled. Tell them they don't need my advice. Freedom isn't something you ask permission for. It's something you take and then defend. We proved that's possible. Now they can prove it for themselves. Across the galaxy, things were changing. The Galactic Collective still existed, but it was different now. It was voluntary. It was democratic. Species that had been silent for centuries found their voices. And at the center of it all was Earth, the small blue planet whose people had refused to surrender. The humans had not conquered the galaxy. They had not even tried. Instead, they had shown the galaxy something more powerful. They had shown that courage and determination could overcome any odds. They had shown that freedom was worth fighting for. And they had proven that the strongest species in the galaxy was not the one with the most ships or the most advanced technology. It was the species that would never give up, no matter what.